background, actually, my education was in electrical engineering. I worked in that field for a handful of years, and I was really good at it, but did not love it, and discovered that, you know what, after a long day or a long week of work, and Friday night, I find myself reading nutrition and health science research and going into the supplementary materials at 9 p.m. on that Friday night. Maybe my passion was elsewhere. And so, yeah, along with having to heal some of my own health struggles that doctors could not help me with, and helping a number of other friends and family with their own health struggles, we found, you know what, we're doing research and we're loving it and we're helping people. Let's make this into a career. And so, yeah, ultimately with all the research that we're doing, that forms the core foundation of our coaching and our tutoring. So we are teaching the biochemistry of how our bodies function to all of our clients, and of all ages, really. And so even my wife, actually, her background is as an artist and graphic designer. And so it really helps the translation from I'm in the in-depth research, and how do we translate that into something that anybody can understand. We work with 85-year-old women with no science background whatsoever, and they are just eating up this biology, and it's super, super fun. And even with that, we've actually partnered with a couple of doctors in Prescott, Arizona, that we trust them to send. I mean, we're not medical experts by any means, so we can refer out to the doctors, and the doctors trust us that they send patients to us that need coaching. But it really is that foundation, that core of education. So ultimately, for school-aged kids, what we really focus on is threefold. And so we teach human biology and biochemistry, and one really core specialty is an emphasis on gut health, because that really forms the foundation of health. And so that's the first thing. And then we teach about how nutrition and lifestyle interact with our biology, and is foundational to health outcomes immediately and 50 plus years down the road. And then we teach food science and culinary skills, and that's Carly's specialty. And so we get kids in the kitchen and getting excited about cooking really healthy and really delicious meals. And actually, I have a background in homeschooling, and that's really actually helped me design how I coach and how I teach, because ultimately one of the things that I loved about being homeschooled growing up is that I could learn all of the core subjects that all of my friends in conventional traditional school were learning, but I got to do it using subject matter that I was passionate about. So science, I volunteered throughout high school every single Friday all day long at a nature center, because I was really interested in environmental science. And so what we found is that, especially connecting food and food science and getting into the kitchen and experimenting and trying out different flavors, different profiles, and even, okay, so if I make a meal that's too salty, I can add a little bit of acid, some lemon juice, and it will taste less salty. So how do I fix a meal that seems like a ruin? And connecting that hands-on science with how I feel and the biology, what's happening inside my body, is super cool for kids. And we find that even kids that are used to growing up eating Annie's mac and cheese for lunch, Carly was just she was working with a couple kids, 12 and 13, and they were excited to try pate. So they made this pate, and they loved it. So it's just super cool to watch kids that setting that foundation of health super early on. And so ultimately, this science, more the science-heavy aspect, we really tailor to grades 6 through 12. But even younger, we love getting in the kitchen and just science through experimentation and getting excited to use the tools in the kitchen. And so that aspect in the kitchen is primarily the greater Prescott area, but the science itself, that education, we can do anywhere. We are both in person and online. And so ultimately, we've designed this for everybody, because nutrition is really a foundational life skill that schools of all levels do not teach. Everywhere from grade school to, it's shocking, but medical schools, very few medical schools require a single course in nutrition. So I've had a doctor come to me and ask me for coaching. And even so for myself, I feel like I lose almost half of my productivity if I go a couple of days without eating right. I get brain fog, I don't have motivation. And when we're working with people, most people I find don't even realize how good they could be feeling until they actually feel it, because it's just the norm. And so, yeah, ultimately setting those core foundational skills of science of our bodies, and then how do we eat, and what are good lifestyles to support how our bodies should be functioning is so foundational. It cannot be understated. And even for Bethany and Neuroline, she mentioned the brain is not static. It is very dynamic, and we can alter the way our brain is functioning. And what she is doing is absolutely beneficial. But you can also eat in certain dietary patterns that can drastically increase how dynamic our brains can be. And so what you eat will impact the work that you're doing with Bethany. Oh yeah, I guess I should say how to reach us. So we're at highenergylife.com. So it's HI as in you're waving, highenergylife.com. And so you can find all of our information on there. We're on socials and such, but that's really